Welcome to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. Today I'm joined in studio by the boys out of Osteen, Florida. Team Tomfoolery, Matt Pagliarulo, Nick Pagliarulo. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on. Welcome to Inside Monster Jam.
Thanks for having us, Scott.
Of course, and Matt, I do want to say that since we got the concept for this idea over a year ago, I've been coming to you, I feel like every weekend, say, hey, I want you on the show. Yeah, we'll do it, but you've been pushing me away and dodging it at every opportunity.
I wouldn't say that I was pushing it away. I mean, it's just been a schedule conflict. We told you, we love Inside Monster Jam. We love contributing, and we want to be a part of it. It's just, I think it's schedule conflict. You're a very busy guy.
We're all busy, and Nick's busy wrecking trucks.
That's true.
I know the term superfan to superstar gets used a lot with you. We've done it at live events before, but I feel like you sort of symbolize that. You're the poster child of the superfan to superstar. So let's go back to Orlando 2011. You guys are fans there, but you're profiled at a Monster Jam event. So let's discuss how that came about and how that ultimately led you to where you're at right now.
Well, this is back in 2011. We were featured for a collection of our Monster Jam trucks, and that kind of got us some attention. And then we got reached out. Some folks from Monster Jam reached out and said they wanted to do a story about it. So, unbeknownst to us, we get this all set up, and this is back when Candace Jolly, drove Monster Mutt, and we're showing them our collection, all the stuff that that I've had even before the kids were born, just kind of showing them, what all we had. And next thing you know, we get a knock at the door, and it's Candace Jolly, and it's a whole crazy experience. And that was like, I guess, the catalyst that started this whole thing. And we got to know more people and got more involved. Next thing you know, 2013, we're deciding to build a Monster Jam truck and starting to go racing.
That's fascinating because when you talk about being a fan of a sport, there's a lot of, athletes in professional sports that are fans that become superstars. I'm sure LeBron James was a huge NBA fan, but for you guys, I was a fan of WWE, but I never became world heavyweight champion, You decide you're going to build a truck, not just drive. You want to build your own truck. That's incredible. So you didn't want to go the easy way just to drive. You wanted to build the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's several different ways you can do it. I don't think I chose necessarily the easiest way. And I do want to say one thing. I mean, you say super fan to superstar. I don't consider myself a superstar. I still consider myself a super fan. I love this sport. I love what this sport is able to bring to families and to people. And being a part of it is very honoring for us to be able to do that.
I think thousands of fans, maybe millions across the globe, would disagree that you're not a superstar. I think they would feel differently. You had to have been just a kid at this point, right? I mean, like young Nick Pagliarulo looking up to your dad, and he decides, let's just build one of these. What is your involvement here?
I was, it's about middle school, beginning of high school. I was about 12 or 13 years old, and we would always go to Monster Jam events every year, 4 to 5, and then we'd go to the Monster Jam World Finals every year. So it was always, a family gathering. It was always our vacation we'd always go to, and then when he finally just said that we were going to go build our own Monster Jam truck, it was like, well, this is crazy. Like, this doesn't feel real. We've always dreamed of having it. We never thought the reality would ever come where we would actually build our own Monster Jam truck. And when he said that, it was just an enlightenment. It was so exhilarating, so exciting to know that we could finally try to get our opportunity to be able to be in Monster Jam where we've always wanted to be.
I've had quite a few independent teams on the show before. We talk about Team Scream. Jim Kohler owns a marina. Jamie Gardner owns a towing company. You have another business, correct? That you had before this, right?
Yeah, correct. And I still have that now. So, I have an audio video integration business. We do a lot of work in the Orlando area and surrounding counties. But that's what allows me to kind of, continue this. It's Michael, Nick, and Chuckie Pauken's full-time job. Brooke is contributing a lot, so she's part of it too. Laura and I have kind of stepped back. We still have to go home on the weekends or after the weekends are over, and go back and run the business during the week. So the boys have really stepped up and kept the program going and basically allowed us to continue and grow as we have so far.
I would have never known that because when you guys are out on the track, specifically you, Nick, you're focused completely on driving. So the fact that you have this other world where you're doing a full-time job for your dad, how are you able to focus on Monster Jam trucks and driving Kraken while you're still trying to do all these other stuff in the real world, I guess we call it?
Well, it's, Monster Trucks is my full-time job. So it's, 7 days a week, almost 365 days a year. This is pretty much all we do. So I'm always either, working on trucks at home or, at another independent teams or at, at the facilities that we go for Monster Jam. We're always working, and it's a lot more than just, showing up and driving. It's a full-time job. We're working 80, 90 hours a week to repair the trucks just to go out there and, bonsai them and wreck them in 5 minutes. And then we're back to square one, rebuilding for the next event.
And I say real world loosely before I'm attacked on social media, because this is real world, but we're also talking about a superstar world, larger than life here, and that's what you guys get to do on the weekend. So you have a Monday through Friday where you deal with your business, and then you are literally driving Kraken into the ground on the weekends, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, I love that. Speaking of Kraken, coming up next, we're going to talk about the rise of Kraken and Nick's career from Rookie of the Year all the way to competing for overall event championships. That is next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. It's all about tomfoolery. Today, we're talking to Matt Pagliarulo and Nick Pagliarulo. Let's talk about the rise of Kraken. So you go from crewing for your dad and this incredible journey from being a fan to being a star, and now you get your own truck. So what was that transition like for you to be, a fan of Monster Jam, to be in his ear? Now you have your own truck and you're driving it every weekend.
Like we were talking about before, it's always been a dream to be able to have that monster truck. And when we decided to build our first Monster Jam truck in 2013, it was, we thought maybe just the one would be perfect. If I never got to drive it, but I got to crew, I was good enough for that with me. I was at least fulfilling my dream and at least be with Monster Jam in some sort of way. But then in 2018, we decided the team was ready to expand. I had just turned 18 and we were going to a 2-truck team. So Dad said, I got a shot for the second truck, get a driving position. So I let down on the reins of the crewing because I was crewing for him for about a year and a half before that in his ear, at each Monster Jam event. And, it was a big step forward and a dream I never thought would actually ever happen, to be able to have a full-time position driving Monster Jam trucks.
So that's quite an investment for you to bring on a second truck and build that. Was it something that you had in mind for Nick? You wanted him to drive, or just felt like you just wanted to add to your team and Nick was the right man for the job?
It's a little bit of both. To be honest, the dream was to build a Monster Jam truck, and we did that. As we got to doing it more, it makes sense to have a second truck, and of course, being able to add a second truck to the team, Nick's going to be the first one that we call on. It's a whole family, affair with us, from my wife, Laura, to, my son, Michael, and my daughter, Brooke. Everybody's fully invested in this. And so to be able to build a second truck and compete with it, Nick was obviously the oldest, and it was his time to shine. And I'll be honest, he's done a phenomenal job in such a short amount of time. His driving style is unique and it's his own. I actually get excited watching him drive that Monster Jam truck, watching him drive Kraken, because you just never know what's going to happen. And he pulls, stuff out that's just crazy to watch.
Well, it's perfect to say, because I spent a year calling you on Stadium Championship Series, right? You're a wild card in freestyle. I never know what to expect. And I feel like there have been times where you have just unloaded on this thing. So let's talk about risk versus reward, because I showed up at Tampa, Raymond James Stadium. I come to the parking lot. The first thing I see is you back there. This was Sunday after you won freestyle on Saturday and destroyed the truck. And it's just laying there in pieces and you're working on it. Is the risk versus reward something that it's okay with you? If you get a win, it's okay that you leave it in pieces because you're going to be the one to fix it?
The risk and reward, definitely, if I'm going to go out on the track each and every time, I'm going to burn it down. I've watched some of the best from Ryan Anderson, Tom Mintz, Adam Anderson, and watch how wild and crazy they go. I want to be able to bring that to the track each and every weekend. But that weekend, I might have just went a little too far because we weren't able to come back for the Sunday event. But if it means the truck's in pieces, as long as we're back for the next event, the next night or later on that day, I'm going to make sure it's done. So I want to make sure every time on the track, all the Monster Jam fans remember Kraken and Nick Pagliarulo.
Does he have a green light to go every night for you?
Absolutely. Nick puts in a lot of work. All the guys do. Michael, Chuckie, Brooke, everyone on this team puts in the work. I am not going to hold them back. They need to do what they need to do. We'll worry about getting the parts and pieces later on. They're putting in the effort. They need to have their moment and their time to shine. And whether Nick goes out, 10th, 11th, or 12th, or he goes out first, he's going to give it 100%. We've seen it this year. He went out first in freestyle and ended up winning the freestyle event. You've got to, in order for him to progress and in order for him to show his talent as a driver, he's got to be given that flexibility.
A Raymond James Stadium special for you. You won your first career overall event championship there. You won freestyle there. And according to you, every Florida show is your hometown, which I respect and I love that. But what makes Florida so special for you, besides just being, your home state? You seem to elevate your game every time you guys come out on a Florida track.
Yeah, especially with any Florida shows that we go to, we're only, 2 hours away from home, 3 hours away at home at max. So when we go to Jacksonville, we're close to home. Or in Orlando, we're really close. Miami, we're a little far, but it's still home. We can run back home the next night and be able to rebuild trucks within the week and go to the next event wherever it is in the country. So it gives us a little extra advantage. We got parts, the availability, bodies, everything ready to go at home. We can just jump home, get ready to go, and get back for the next event next weekend.
Well, I know we have to wear fire suits for safety, but I do have a request for you for next year. That outfit you wore to the award ceremony in Nashville, if you could wear that in the truck at some point in time next year, I'd be a very happy guy. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the newest additions to Team Tomfoolery Recreation, Michigan Ice Monster, and of course the long-awaited return of Excaliber. That is coming up next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. I'm joined this week by Matt Pagliarulo and Nick Pagliarulo as we talk about everything going on in Team Tomfoolery's world. Speaking of which, expansion, always a popular topic when it comes to our independent teams, and you guys have been expanding very fast. We talk about Jester, we talk about Kraken, but now we have Recreation, we have Michigan Ice Monster, and we have Excaliber. So when you have two trucks, I'm sure the upkeep for that is insane. Among itself, why want more trucks? Why add to that?
Well, I mean, as you know, we've got a lot of great, team members. They're all a lot of family, and Chuckie Pauken's now with us, and he's basically our third son. We like to consider him. So it's inevitable that we're going to build a third truck. And so when we did that, Jason Becker, who is with Master of Faster, created Recreation. I cannot take any credit for that whatsoever. He came up with an unbelievable design. He posted it. And so when I saw it, I'm like, that just screams Team Tomfoolery. It screams the crazies of that truck. So, Jason and I worked it out where, we would acquire that with him. And then he's been a big part of designing all the merch and everything for it and that design. And when we debuted it last year at World Finals, I mean, I guess the uproar about it was crazy. We knew it would be good, but I think it was better than we expected. And it's just looking at that truck, it's an insanely looking truck. And, we can't wait to see it compete.
I think a lot of people that saw it were hoping to spend the night in there. It looks so cool. And you're getting a Spin Master diecast of this, correct?
That is correct. And that brings up a good point. I mean, maybe we could offer Recreation as an Airbnb.
That is true.
I'm sure we could probably get some people that would like to spend the evening. But no, Spin Master stepped up huge. They've made the Recreation truck. We've seen the prototypes. We've seen some stuff. Within the next few months, it's going to be coming out. We're super excited about it.
And you guys work with Star Creations, correct, to design your bodies? Because I know they did Kraken and they did Michigan Ice Monster as well, and all of your trucks. So what's your relationship like with Star?
It's very close. They came up to us in World Finals in Las Vegas a few years ago. They were just starting out, trying to work their way in some way to get into monster trucks and Monster Jam, and they had offered us. And we had a couple different fiberglass people at first, but they were very close to us. It worked out, and they wanted to sponsor us. So they started out first, but they're just making the 3D diamonds for my dad's body for World Finals, and they started picking up. We started looking for more bodies every time he'd tear them up each weekend. So they were close. We started getting with them, and then when we told them about the second truck, my truck Kraken, they wanted to build it. They wanted to go full on. They wanted to have their own design into it. They wanted to have their full free reign to do what they wanted. So that kind of helped boost towards it. Now they're building Recreation, and they're also building, Michigan Ice Monster, and then hopefully a couple more that we've been having some thoughts about.
Yeah, they do amazing work. I would love to do an episode of the show with Star Creation. So maybe you can help me out if they're listening, watching.
You absolutely
come
need
on
to.
Inside Monster Jam. I'd love to talk to you guys. Let's talk about the new trucks. We talked about Recreation, but Excaliber, Michigan Ice Monster. We all know Excaliber, a lot of history there. Charlie Pauken made that thing a national treasure in the monster truck community. But Michigan Ice Monster, what was the draw to that truck to bring it back?
It was just coincidence. So we got the opportunity for Excaliber. There was some discussion with John Zimmer. He came into the shop a few years ago, and we talked about Excaliber. And so he gave me the contact information for the gentleman that owned that trademark. And in doing that, it was basically we acquired both at the same time. It was kind of like a package deal. When I first brought this up to my wife, Laura, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. A guy from Florida owns Michigan Ice Monster. I love the truck, but my wife said that was one of her favorite trucks back in the day. So it just made sense. And we love the old school look. We love that, Michigan Ice Monster. We were able to debut it, back in June. The fans love it. We tried to keep it as authentic as possible. It's just something that we're trying to do is keep the history of the sport.
And you have 5 identities now, but how many trucks do you actually have in your garage?
Currently, we have 3 chassis, 3 complete trucks that are ready to go, race ready trucks, working on a 4th. Right now, the 5 identities will be out this year at one point or another. Obviously, Gesture, Kraken, Michigan Ice Monster, and Excaliber have already been out. That leaves Recreation. So Recreation will be out later on this year, probably in December. We'll be able to release kind of where we're going to be at that. It should be an event in Florida, and we're looking forward to that.
Nick, how supportive has Monster Jam been for your team when it comes to adding these new trucks and giving them a platform to come into an event? Because we just saw Excaliber debut in Savannah, which we'll get to here next segment. But how supportive has the company been for you guys to bring your trucks in?
They've been really supportive, especially bringing back these old school Monster Jam trucks that have been back in the day. A lot of the people from Monster Jam, they grew up watching the old school monster trucks. So they grew up watching Excaliber. They watched Michigan Ice Monster. So bringing them to the table and bringing them back, I know a lot of people love it, and being able to see it on the track, I know it's definitely, even for me, it's brought me chills. And I know some people, when we brought Excaliber back this last weekend when we were in Savannah, Georgia, I was talking to a lot of the people from Monster Jam here, and they were saying, it's great to see the truck on the track. It brings them chills. It brings them back memories from when they were kids. And then now bringing, my dad's truck, Jester, and his creation, Recreation as well. It's the standout bodies, I think, that it really turns heads, and especially for Monster Jam and the company, and a lot of the Monster Jam super fans as well.
I'm a history buff, and to bring in some of these old school trucks into new school Monster Jam, I feel like it ties everything together, and hopefully you guys can spearhead more of this in the future. So we're going to say goodbye to Matt, and we're going to say goodbye to Nick, and we're going to bring in Mike Pagliarulo and Chuckie Pauken III, and we're going to talk about the long-awaited return of Excaliber. I am excited for this. Stay right where you are. More Inside Monster Jam is coming up next. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Today we're talking all things Team Tomfoolery, and it is my pleasure to welcome into the show Mike Pagliarulo and Chuckie Pauken III. Guys, thanks for being here. I see your shirts, your hats. We're excited here for the return of Excaliber. So, Mike, let's start with Savannah. You brought Excaliber back to Monster Jam for the first time in over 10 years. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was amazing. All the feedback we got during pit party, everybody's seen it. When they were younger, and to bring it back, they were excited to see it. And, it did went pretty good. I did roll it. Definitely wanted Chuckie to roll it the first time, but I got that ahead.
What was the response from the fans there? I know you're at the pit party, and as a Monster Jam historian myself, if I showed up to an event not knowing Excaliber was going to be there, and I saw the truck, I would absolutely have a fanboy moment, and I would have just, engulfed myself over there by you. So what was that response from the fans for your truck?
They loved it. Even the people that didn't even see it in the 80s, they just loved the old school look about it, and, the nice black, and it just looked professional.
That's very sleek. So, Chuckie, for you actually got to drive this thing a little bit earlier at an independent event. How was that for you?
It was truly awesome. It was actually in Mansfield, Ohio, and that place has a lot of history. My dad drove the truck like over 30 years ago there, so it was really cool. I got to meet the fans. Some of the fans came up to me, told me that they were there 30 years ago and seen my dad, and now they brought their kids to see me.
And that's near home for you too, so that's got to be pretty special to be in your home state of Ohio, to drive your dad's truck. And let's talk about the sentimental value there. When you talk about Charlie Pauken, it's usually Gravedigger and Excaliber. I know he won a World Finals championship in Monster Mud, but those are the 2 trucks I think that stick with him. So when this opportunity came up for you to drive his former truck, what was his reaction to that?
He loved it. It came full circle for him basically, because that was the same truck that he started out in, and now I get to start out and drive that same truck that he drove years ago.
Well, Mike, for you've been, crewing for your dad and your brother, so you've been waiting for your turn. You got that. You've done some spot shows here. What has your experience so far been like for you in Monster Jam to try and fill into some of these arena events?
I loved it. I mean, it was such a big honor that they even gave me the opportunity to fill in for my dad, and now we have the 3rd truck. So kind of I get this chassis, so it's kind of more open now, so I don't have to share the spot with Dad. But it's awesome. It's really fun.
You don't like to share the spot with your dad?
I do, but I gotta get my shine.
Of course, everybody has to get their shot. Chuckie, what do you want to do in Monster Jam? Your dad has such an illustrious career, as is yours and your brother. So I know there's comparisons for both of you. You can't avoid it. I'm fortunate that my dad was a salesman for a trucking company, so there's no Monster Jam and broadcasting thing where I have to follow in his footsteps. But when your name is out there, it's the same name everybody knows. Your dad is a legend in the sport. How are you able to, get over that hump, so to speak, and follow in his legacy, follow in his footsteps, but sort of trailblaze your own identity as well?
I mean, I hope to be half as good as my dad. I mean, he already says that I'm better than him, and he's just waiting to go head to head against me. But I think I'm going to do very well because of the practice vehicle that we created years ago. I started, learning how to do moonwalks on that, and second show out, I was able to do a stoppie. Perfect. Nailed it. Didn't even roll it.
And I heard a rumor that your dad kind of took some four-wheelers, some side-by-sides and made them two-wheel skills compatible. Is that true?
That is true, yeah. That's what we use to learn moonwalks, bicycles. It's helped a lot.
That's very cool. As for you, now you don't not just have the dad you have to follow, but you have your brother as well, who's out there wrecking Kraken, every week and winning freestyle. So I know you want to, make your own identity here, but you're the third Pagliarulo in Monster Jam. You got your sister as well, who's coming up in the ranks too. So what are your goals and ambitions to create your own identity?
I definitely want to get a Rookie of the Year because I know Dad didn't get one.
All right.
And Nick got one. So if I can hold it above his head, that I got a rookie and Nick got a Rookie of the Year, so it'd be pretty.
Well,
cool.
let's not slight your. He did get Rising Star though,
He did
get an award. So let's not slight the head of the family here. But so you have a lot of goals and ambitions, both of you. So let's talk about Team Tomfoolery. You have Jester, Kraken, Excaliber, Michigan Ice Monster, Recreation. You guys could literally just run your own Monster Jam show, pretty much. When it comes to those trucks, obviously, I'm sure Excaliber is something you want to take maybe to even greater heights that your dad did.
Oh, definitely. I'd like to, continue on the legacy and excel that.
So let's talk about your future here in Monster Jam. Where do you want to take the Mike Pagliarulo brand when it comes to Team Tomfoolery?
I debuted in Ice Monster, the Reed debut, and I just want to take that to the Monster Jam track. I know the Monster Jam fans would love to see it back. They saw Excaliber. I do not want to take that away from Chuckie and the Pauken family. I know they're going to do pretty good with it. So I just would like to bring back Ice Monster.
Well, you're both second-generation drivers. You can both flat-out drive. I'm looking forward to the future of Team Tomfoolery. We'll see, though, how you fare if you have to line up against your dad or your brother, and, of course, how you fare lining up against your dad as well. Thank you very much for joining me. Team Tomfoolery is taking over the sport. Excaliber, Ice Monster, Jester, Kraken, Recreation. That is all the time we have. See you next time on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil.